podcast episode, we have invited Sabina Žáková, a former co-owner of a small brewery called Mini Brewery Labuť in a small Czech town Litoměřice. We are going to ask her questions about her former business, the difficulties she and her husband might have run into over the years. Here she is. Welcome. How are you today is my first question.
I'm fine.
It's known that you and your husband owned a small brewery. How did you come up with the idea of opening a brewery? Was it your husband or both of you?
I think it was, it's hard to say now, because it's quite a long time, who was the first, but we were discussing about this. We wanted to do something really different and new. And we have a friend, he lives in South Bohemia, and at that time he started his very small brewery, much more smaller than we had. And it was so interesting, a lot of new things. So that was the first point we decided to do something like that.
Okay, and when did you start running the brewery? How old were you?
So my kids were quite small, and it's nearly 13 years ago.
And what steps did you have to take to open the brewery, and did you have to deal with some complications?
There were many steps. Yeah, we have to reconstruct the space for that. Luckily, we owned a big house with quite a big space, so the brewery was able to be just insulated into this place. So that was a luck a little bit, because we didn't have to find a new place for it. But of course, we needed money. So we asked banks to lend some money for us. But the money was the easiest part. Always there were many problems with the officials, because you need a lot of things to do before you start the business itself, before you start the reconstructions, and of course there are many steps, and it took nearly 2 years.
And what was the hardest thing about running it, and by the contrast, what was the most interesting thing about it?
The hardest thing? The hardest thing is always the work with people. When you have to work with people, you have some kind of expectations, but they have different, so the meeting of these expectations is not very satisfying in many ways sometimes. And the most interesting things during all the years, everything was interesting. I met a lot of people from many different countries in the world. I did interviews with people from Taiwan, China, America, nearly every country from Europe. We were talking about the business itself, about the brewing, about many things which are around this type of business, which is specific in some way. And of course, because I was the woman in the business of that kind, this is the business mainly for the women in our community. So that's why it was also interesting to me other people to ask questions.
And your brewery was not the only one in town, so was it risky to found a brewery in this locality?
At the time we started the business, there was no brewery. We were the first in the region, in Litoměřice and the small surroundings in it. So, and we were the first for a few years. And of course, when some kind of competitor comes into your surroundings, it's always risky. You have to think of it very, very much. What should be changed, or what kind of things or steps steps you have to do to have your business always as the first one. Yeah, so it's, of course, you are very nervous, a lot of things you have to solve, and of course the people around you must be motivated somehow to stay with you. So sometimes it's difficult.
And for how long was your brewery in operation?
Well, we were in operation for the first point 10 years.
And did you export some of your beer to foreign countries?
Yes, we did. Germany, Slovakia, Austria. Many of our samples were taken with people to the US and to Asia. So it was a very successful business in many ways. Yeah. So in the Litoměřice people would see only the brewery pub, but the business is always hidden behind something that's really on the stage.
Why did you decide to sell your family brewery? What was the key factor that forced you to make such a decision?
At first, I have to say that it was from the beginning. For us, it was some kind of investment to start something new, something different, to get a lot of things around. But from the first point of view, it was that we have to sell it in some window of the years. Yeah. So at first we said we will run it, we would run it for 10 years, and then we will see. Of course, the changes which came after 10 years were a little bit different. We expected at the time. So it also changed our decisions. And the second thing is I don't believe in the family business itself, that we have 3 kids, and I'm not sure if I really see them in that business after us. And so family business is quite small one, it's not a big factory. Everything is very, very personal. Yeah, also the relationships between people and your employees and the business partners. So I didn't want my kids have no other possibilities to do.
Mm-hmm. So do you find it difficult to be in this business as a woman?
Yes, it was very difficult sometimes, yes. Because as I said at the beginning, it's business for men in the Czech Republic, and you are not expected to know something about that. So that's why I wanted to know from the beginning every small things which is needed to be done in the brewing process, in the brewing factory, in the business of outsourcing and whatever. Yeah, so and it's very difficult sometimes.
So you already said that your kids were very small when you started running the brewery. Was raising them more difficult, and if you had a normal job, would it have been more easier?
Yeah, but it's not only about the brewery, it's all the business always. When you are a mother and you want to do the business, it's also good for you and good for the kids. But of course you don't have so much time. So if you have the time, it's much more intensive to spend the time with the kids. My youngest son was born into the business, and now he is nearly 12, and he really appreciates now he has his mother for himself. And so, but I think it was a good decision in many ways. I wouldn't change it, never. Yeah, the kids knows a lot about it. I think they are proud of their mother on one side, but now they are quite glad that I am just a little bit back at home, back with them. I have more time for other things, and that's it.
And while entrepreneuring, did you have some time for yourself, for holidays and your hobbies, for example?
In this kind of business, there is no time for you because you have to run the business 24 hours, 7 days a week. Always on the phone, always on email. When some kind of business partners call you, you always have to be here. It doesn't matter if it's midnight, because it's your money. And if you, it's your money and your position in the business. If you wouldn't be here, there will be no business in the future. So it's sometimes very exhausting, but also the adrenaline you have, it's also very satisfying. So it has many pros and many cons, but the result always is very, very good.
And what duties does an entrepreneur have? And is there any advice you would give starting entrepreneurs?
If you want to do something, go for it every time. So it's better not to say after a few years, oh, I should do it like that. There was an occasion and an opportunity, and I was too lazy. No. If you really want to do something, you can go and you can do it. It doesn't matter if there is no success immediately, because the success is always just in quite a long time. But I'm satisfied with that. I'm satisfied that I did the business was successfully sold. So everything was quite good, but I can't say it was easy. It was difficult many times, but it was nice in many things.
Okay. And what was the hardest challenge you had to overcome in your entrepreneurial career?
The hardest challenge. The challenges are you come face to face to challenge nearly every day, because the business is it's like a river. You never know what can happen next day, and that's why it's so satisfying for many people. And the challenge, maybe when we are talking about the COVID time, so my father was very ill. I was in hospital in Prague with him, and we didn't know what can happen. And I got an email that we have to close everything, because all the state was just stopped. No business, no money, but you have to pay. Yeah, so you have to pay your employees because it's your job. You have to pay for energies, you have to pay many things, and now you have no incomes. And I was very nervous about my father, because it was a very difficult point in my life. And now business was like my fourth child at this moment, and it was a big challenge to overcome it. And we did it. Yeah, we did it. And that's it.
And despite the problems and difficulties, was your job satisfying? Were you enjoying it?
My job, can you repeat it, please?
Oh, despite the problems and difficulties, was your job satisfying and were you enjoying it?
Yes, it was. I've learned a lot of things, and I think my life is not over with the business. Yeah. So I can use many abilities from this part of my life now, and I hope in future. So yeah, it was very satisfying, I must say.
So that's all from my questions. I thank you very much for this interview.
Thank you.